It's hard to imagine what Earth looked like before dinosaurs ever set foot on it. Picture a world without trees, without flowers, and without anything that even slightly resembles what's familiar today. Instead, there were oceans filled with creatures so bizarre, they could have walked right out of a sci-fi fever dream. Evolution during that time wasn't moving in a straight line. It was more like an over-caffeinated inventor tossing out wild blueprints to see what might stick. The outcome was a parade of life forms so strange, hilarious and confusing that many don't even look like animals at first glance. This isn't just another dinosaur documentary. It's a deep dive into nature's earliest and weirdest experiments. Real creatures that swam, crawled, or just drifted along while confusing scientists hundreds of millions of years later. And every last one of them really lived, proven by fossils and backed by hard science. These aren't myths or exaggerations. They're the raw, prehistoric truth. Hallucigenia Sparsa, evolution's prank on paleontology. Let's kick things off with one of the biggest head-scratchers ever found in the fossil record, Hallucigenia Sparsa. If evolution ever went through a weird sketchbook phase, this creature was one of the doodles. It was first discovered back in 1911 in the legendary Burgess Shale of British Columbia, and it's about 508 million years old, straight from the Cambrian period. And in terms of size, tiny. We're talking about something that maxed out around 5 centimeters. Now, here's where it gets fun. When scientists first looked at Hallucigenia, nobody could figure out which side was up, which end was the head, or even what counted as legs. For decades, they thought the spines on its back were legs, and that its actual legs were some kind of antennae. That's like seeing a porcupine and assuming it walks on its quills. Totally confusing. It wasn't until 2015 that microtomography finally cleared things up. Turns out there was a small head with simple eyes and even teeth in the throat. That helped scientists flip the creature the right way around. Once everything was in place, it became clear that Hallucigenia had a long, spiky back, soft legs with claws, and probably scooted along the seafloor eating tiny organic bits. Despite how odd it looks, this little critter was a regular part of its ancient ecosystem. Think of it as a worm meets hedgehog mashup with zero regard for looking normal. Helicoprion, the shark with a buzzsaw for a jaw. Next up, something that sounds like it belongs in a horror movie toolbox. Meet Helicoprion, a fish with a mouth full of mystery. This guy swam the seas around 290 million years ago, during the Permian period. It was first discovered in Russia back in 1899, but most of the best fossils, especially the famous jaw ones, were found in Idaho, USA. So what made Helicoprion stand out? Its teeth, or rather, one epic spiral of them, known as a tooth whorl. Imagine a circular saw stuffed into a fish's lower jaw, and you've got the basic idea. For more than 100 years, no one knew what to make of it. Some scientists thought the spiral sat on the forehead, others guessed the tail, and a few even suggested it was just body armor. Then came 2013. Researchers using CT scans finally figured it out. The tooth spiral sat neatly in the lower jaw, and surprisingly, Helicoprion didn't have upper teeth at all. The saw-like structure worked like a slicer, grabbing and cutting through soft prey like ancient squid and ammonites. The fish itself could grow between 4 to 7 meters long, but we don't know much about its full body, because cartilage, what its skeleton was made of, doesn't fossilize well. So all that's left is this surreal jaw spiral that turned one ancient predator into a true fossil legend. Opabinia regalis, 5 eyes and a flexible gripper. Now get ready for one of evolution's greatest what on earth moments, Opabinia regalis. This one was also discovered in the Burgess Shale, first described back in 1912, and dates to around 505 million years ago. It wasn't a big creature, only about 7 centimeters long, but it sure made an impression. Just picture this, a body divided into 15 segments, ending in a fan-like tail, topped with 5 eyes. Yes, 5. And as if that wasn't enough, smack in the middle of its face was a long, tube-like appendage ending in pincers. That bizarre arm was used to grab food off the ocean floor and deliver it to a mouth that, oddly enough, sat underneath the body. For the longest time, nobody had a clue what Opabinia actually was. Eventually, scientists decided it was part of a long-gone group closely related to arthropods, the same broad family as crabs and insects. But back in 1975, when its first full reconstruction was shown to a group of researchers, they laughed out loud. Not because it was funny, but because it was just that unbelievable. Evolution, clearly, was in full experimental mode here. Its 5 eyes weren't just for show. They likely gave it nearly 360-degree vision, perfect for spotting predators or prey in every direction. The segmented body suggests it could flex and twist easily, helping it navigate the complex terrain of ancient seabeds. That flexible trunk-like appendage might have even helped it poke into crevices or sift through sediment, making it a surprisingly versatile feeder. Some paleontologists believe its strange features represent a transitional form, a snapshot of life caught mid-experiment between known animal groups. Its soft body rarely fossilized well, so each specimen discovered is a small miracle of preservation. Even today, Opabinia remains one of the best examples of how early life forms didn't just evolve, they pushed the limits of what an animal could be. Deinocheirus, a living vase with no known family. Time to meet a creature that could be mistaken for a fancy sea-themed centerpiece. Deinocheirus isolatus was discovered in the 1970s, again in the Burgess Shale, and lived around 505 million years ago. Unlike the others so far, this one didn't move. It was sessile, meaning it stayed put, firmly attached to the sea floor. It only stood about 20 millimeters tall, looking like a fragile cup on a stem. On top, it had feather-like structures that probably filtered food from the surrounding water. It wasn't swimming or hunting, it was just calmly existing, soaking up whatever nutrients the current brought its way. But here's the catch. Scientists still don't know where Deinocheirus fits on the evolutionary tree. It didn't have a skeleton, no body segments, and no limbs. Some link it to protozoa, others to very early filter feeders, but there's no consensus. It's one of those rare evolutionary one-offs, a floral-looking animal with no modern relatives. Proof that life wasn't afraid to try totally out there designs. Its delicate structure suggests it thrived in calm, shallow waters, where strong currents wouldn't knock it over. Fossils show no signs of movement appendages or muscle traces, reinforcing the idea that it lived a fixed, passive lifestyle. Some researchers have even proposed that Deinocheirus represents an early stage of multicellular evolution that branched off in a completely separate direction. Its feeding method, filtering tiny particles from the water, was efficient for its size and setting, kind of like nature's first attempt at a biological air purifier. Despite its small size, it stood out in the fossil record thanks to its odd shape and unique combination of traits. It's a reminder that early life wasn't just evolving fast, it was also getting wildly creative in how it survived. Waiwaxia corrugata, a hedgehog of the Cambrian. If armored animals and glittery spikes are more your style, Waiwaxia corrugata is here for you. Discovered in 1966, and also from the Burgess Shale, this creature lived about 505 million years ago, alongside Opabinia and Deinocheirus. It had an oval body covered in overlapping plates, like it dressed itself in fish-scale armor. Then there were those long spines jutting out from its sides, possibly to keep predators at bay. It looked like a hedgehog that wandered into a medieval weapon shop. Waiwaxia moved slowly along the sea floor using its soft underside. It had a scraping tool, a radula-like organ, to feed on algae and microorganisms. While its classification has sparked plenty of debates, many scientists now consider it an early cousin of mollusks and segmented worms. And there's more. Fossils of Waiwaxia are sometimes so detailed that even its spines are preserved. Its armor, called sclerites, might have been shed and regrown like modern reptiles shed skin. The symmetry in its scale pattern suggests an early nod to how animals organize their body structures today. Some even think it had tiny bristles underneath, helping it move smoothly over the seabed. This little tank of the Cambrian seas shows just how creative evolution got with combining softness and defense. Tullimonstrum gregarium, the mascot of mystery. Last but definitely not least, meet Illinois' official fossil superstar, Tullimonstrum gregarium, aka the Tully Monster. This bizarre animal was discovered in 1958 by fossil hunter Francis Tully in the famous Mason Creek beds. It dates back about 307 million years to the late Carboniferous period. It measured around 30 centimeters, with a soft, torpedo-like body, a flat tail fin, and a long, extendable snout ending in tiny pincers. And to make things even weirder, its eyes were mounted at the ends of a stiff rod that stretched across its head, almost like someone built a submarine out of jelly and forgot the instruction manual. For decades, nobody knew what group the Tully monster belonged to. Some called it a mollusk, others guessed arthropod. At one point, it didn't fit anywhere at all, but in 2016, a team at Yale proposed that it might be a vertebrate, possibly related to modern-day jawless fish like lampreys. Not everyone buys that theory, and the debates are still ongoing. One thing that's clear is that Tullimonstrum wasn't exactly a loner. Its species name, gregarium, means social, and fossils suggest it liked to hang out in groups. Its soft body hints that it drifted through low-oxygen waters, where most predators wouldn't bother to go. Unlike many animals of its era, it didn't have bones, making the detail in its fossilized remains even more impressive. Some scientists think it might be part of an extinct vertebrate branch we still don't fully understand. With no internal organs preserved, its biology is still a bit of a mystery. but one thing's for sure. It's one of the most alien-looking animals ever found, and a perfect example of how weird things really got in Earth's past. If there's one takeaway from all this, it's that the path from single-celled life to today's complex creatures was anything but straight. It was wild, messy, full of odd turns, and at times, completely unpredictable. These bizarre organisms, from jaw-spiral sharks to spiny sea hedgehogs, showcase how evolution tested every possible idea, no matter how strange. Some of those ideas stuck, others faded into extinction, but each one helped shape the story of life. They may be gone now, but in the rock layers and fossil beds they left behind, they're still telling tales of oceans filled with wonders and a planet that wasn't afraid to get weird. If all that strangeness got you hooked, hit that like button, subscribe for more prehistoric deep dives, and drop your favorite fossil oddity in the comments. Because if the past teaches anything, it's that the weirdest creatures are often the ones worth remembering.